Hi there, everyone, and welcome to our event today. I'm Kat Delgadillo here to tell you a little bit about what we do at TEN Capital. Unfortunately, Hall is on a plane to DC as we speak, so he will not be here to give our introduction, but luckily I have a nice little recording of what he usually says. So I'm going to go ahead and play that, and we're going to start the slides here just in a moment. So here we go.
Hello, this is Paul Martin with TEN Capital. We're here today for our next event. And before we jump into it, I'd like to talk more about what TEN Capital does. We help startups and investors connect for funding. And what we do is we help form capital for the early stage entrepreneur ecosystem. For those companies that are raising funding, we help them put together their pitch deck, advise on their fundraise program, help with their strategy, and then make introductions to investors. In short, we provide the legwork, saving you time and money. We've been doing this since 2009 when we originally called Texas Entrepreneurs Network, and we've raised over $900 million of funding for our companies. We also help form capital for the early stage. We help high net worth individuals launch family offices. There's many people that in the $25 to $50 million assets under management space that want to launch family offices, and we have a program with our Family Office Roundtable to do that. We also help VCs find limited partners, mostly family offices. We do monthly dinner events, bringing VCs and family offices together. And then we help angel groups find members. This is a great way for helping individual angels be more successful because they get to share the deal flow and the due diligence with an angel group. We have 4 events that we do online each month. We have a family office roundtable. It's a 2-hour session. The topic's relevant to those who want to start and run a family office. It's focused primarily after the virtual family office. So we do a lot of discussion about how you set those up. We also run a quick pitch. This is for tech companies. Each company gets 10 minutes to pitch, 5 minutes of Q&A. And we have 4 to 5 companies presenting with breakout rooms afterwards and a panel of investors asking questions and also investors in the audience. And finally, we have the Life Science Syndicate event, which is a monthly meetup where we bring those on the FDA path together to also have a panel of investors and have pitching. And if you want to learn more about our events, just go to tencapital.group, click on the events button, and you'll find out more about us there. If you're a startup and you want to raise funding, just click a picture of that QR code, fill it out, send it to us, and we'll follow up with you to see if our program would be a good fit for your fundraise. We also have our AI chatbot, Ava. Ava is a automated solution that helps people get answers to their questions about startup funding and investing. This comes from our Investor Connect program. We have over 800 interviews with investors, angel, VC, family offices on what they invest and how they invest and what they look for in startups. And we also have a Startup Funding Espresso. The time it takes to drink an espresso, you can learn something about startup funding and investing. And so with that, we've actually built over 2,000 of them. These are 300-word micro blog posts, minute and a half video, audio component, and we put them all in a chat bot. So all you have to do is ask your question, and it gives you the answer. We call it Ava. So let's listen to learn more about that.
Hi there. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Ava, your personal AI venture assistant. I'm your new best friend in the world of investing in startups, the TEN Capital AI chatbot. I'm here to make your journey through the startup ecosystem easier, faster, and a lot more fun. Need help finding your next big investment? Or maybe you're a founder looking for fundraising tips? I've got you covered. I pull all my knowledge from over 500 blogs, countless podcasts, and even some nifty calculators, like the How Fundable Is Your Startup tool, to give you the answers you need. So how do I work? Easy. You simply go to where I live on startupfundingespresso.com and look for me in the bottom right. As soon as I appear, go ahead and click on me to let me know you're here. And then there you go. All your questions answered at your fingertips. Whether you're into health tech, biotech, life sciences, or any of the other exciting fields out there, I'm equipped to help you navigate the trends, challenges, and opportunities in each one. Got a question? Just ask. And guess what? I even pull insights from the TEN Capital Network podcast on Investor Connect. It's packed with expert advice, success stories, and more, all designed to help you succeed in the venture capital world. So what are you waiting for? Let's chat. I'm here 24/7 to help you find the right answers, connect with great opportunities, and make the most out of your investments. See you on startupfundingespresso.com.
All right, and with that, we can get started. I'm gonna go ahead and introduce Dan Conley of NJ Angels, and he's gonna give you a little information about what he does there.
Okay, well, just an intro, and then at the end, a couple of minutes, because I got some slides, but I can share with you quickly that we have here it is here, share is our monthly nonprofit. Can you see that? Got it? Is it coming up? Okay, so again, this is a typical program, and you'll see IP centric, a couple of interesting companies in anti-inflammation. And then we also have Edward Bruce White of Combat Medical presented. So we are familiar with the company. We think it's a terrific company. And that's Transradial Technologies there. They just got a check for $2.2 million and poof, graduated from fundraising. We have the CRISPR chip company and closing in on its first million of revenue, et cetera, as is AIM Halo. And then just to skip right through, every month we hold a program. Entrepreneurs are invited to ask questions about anything, everything they want to gotta know, and basically it's inexpensive and a high impact event. So that's monthly programs. EntreUniv.org is a wonderful nonprofit that has been in operation since 1984, and I've been running it for 33 years now. So that can be exhausting. Now I'm looking for my button to take this screen down.
No worries, Dan, I've got you. So go ahead and
Okay.
stop that there. Thanks for that, Dan.
So I got very lucky myself in two anti-cancer companies back early, 2004 and 2009. I had dabbled into that space in the past, and oh my goodness, so much we don't know, right? And it's all about the hyper learning, et cetera. So finding a unicorn is really you don't really see it until you understand. So that's why we have the 22 criteria measuring system before, things are approved or revenue is generated. How do you evaluate the venture? So that's our venture evaluation process. And it's healthy and self-scoring, and it's transparent to the teammate, and it's confidential. There's that. And then the idea of, is the company ready for due diligence? And so what does the table of contents of the data room look like? Is it tight and sharp and organized? Or is it like, here it is, go fish, go guess, and you tick off the angel groups and they just slow walk it to death. So you want to be able to load onto Gust, load onto Dealum, and have a full, tight, sharp fundraising toolkit. And I can share those with you as well.
That's awesome. Thank you,
Where does
Dan.
my clock end?
Right about now. Go ahead and get into the
You.
questions here. So we have Paul and Jeff from NGX. Sorry, am I saying that correctly? I hope I'm saying that correctly.
Yes, and
Okay,
NGX.
perfect. NGX. So with that, go ahead and start.
All right, great. So Dan, I'm glad to hear you're a cancer therapeutics investor. We have another unicorn for you. NGX is the fruit of 22 years of biology research, about 13 years of drug development, and 9 years of company building. We've made a very exciting drug. The scientific founders of the company are leaders in the field of angiogenesis. That's the formation of new blood vessels. And tumors, in order to grow, have to form new blood vessels. And the holy grail of that field was to find a way to obliterate the tumor blood vessels without harming any normal blood vessels. And the effect of that would be to have a universal therapy for all tumors that could reduce them to the size of a pinhead. And what got all this started 22 years ago was this discovery of the biology that makes that possible. And it turns out to be perfect for antibody drug conjugate technology. we've made such a drug. And it has three mechanisms of efficacy, all of which are robust across solid cancers and have the potential to render the cancer non-lethal. And it gives us exceptional safety. So we expect only on-tumor effects of our drug. And that's what we've been seeing in the clinic. So we're in phase 1 clinical trials. We've dosed up to levels where we expect efficacy. We're starting to see efficacy, and we've had only on tumor effects. So most patients only see at most a grade 1. That's the mildest classification, fatigue, which is a clinical sign of tumor lysis. And so the great thing is you have a chance to enter now at around a $40 million pre-money valuation. Similar companies, other ADC companies, after approval, get to a $40 billion valuation. So plenty of upside, and we're just on the verge of the major value inflection. So this is what our drug looks like: an antibody which provides homing to the cells of the tumor, and then internalization into the nucleus of the cells of the tumor. And then once in the nucleus, the antibody is destroyed by the nuclear proteasome. It releases this cytotoxic payload. It's efficacious only in that first cell it's released into. It's a unique pathway. We've been the only ones studying it, so we have very strong patent protection on the ways to make these drugs. The reason we can have exceptional safety is there's very strong antibody binding to tumor cells and to tumor vascular endothelial cells. There's hardly any binding in normal, and the cells that it does bind to are not dividing and are not sensitive to the payload. So we basically have no toxicity to normal at any clinical dose, clinically relevant dose, but we can attack both parts of the tumor. So over here you see therapeutic index. This black curve is the blood concentration that shrinks tumors. This blue curve is a no observed adverse effect level. So this is how we shrink tumors through the vascular mechanism. We obliterate the tumor blood vessels, not only the small vessels in the tumor, but the large vessels that feed and drain the tumor, and that leads to a necrosis in the middle of the tumor. We found that vascular injury potentiates checkpoint inhibitors. So we can turn any tumor from immunologically cold to warm, and we increase the response rate to immune checkpoint inhibitors from 0% to 70 to 80%. And so these are drugs that sell $50 billion a year, but only work in 12% of cancer patients. So we can really, make them effective in a lot of people. And then we also kill the tumor cells. So tumor cells across all solid cancers. Our target is one of the highest, most highly expressed tumor cell antigens. And so that means we can get a third mechanism of action, killing the tumor cells in just about all solid cancers. So this is where we're at in the clinic. We've dosed through our first 4 dose levels safely with, in many patients, no adverse effects at all, and in some grade 1. And we've also successfully inflamed the tumors at this dose level, and we believe that will potentiate the immune checkpoint inhibitors. So we're starting these arms around September. At this dose level, we cleared safely, and we started to see some efficacy. We had a metastatic pancreatic cancer patient who stayed on trial 7 months. And so we've started an expansion in angiosarcoma, a favorable cancer. And our first patient has been on trial a month, and their tumors are shrinking. So quite exciting time. This is a high unmet need cancer. And then we're also dosing up at this level. And somewhere up here around 6, we should be shrinking all solid cancers. So multiple paths to efficacy, and we're already starting to demonstrate them in expansions. So this sketches out our path to drug approval. We can get to revenue about a year before approval. So once pharma companies know you have an approved drug, they'll do partnerships with billion-dollar upfront payments. So that's when you become profitable. Right now, we're in this blue period. We're proving the drug works. We're looking for a top-off financing of $5 to $10 million. That will get us up to 5 to 30 patient responses and demonstration that our drug works, which will allow us to raise the money to pay for getting to approval. So our team, I'm a former scientist, an astrophysicist at MIT, Berkeley, and Harvard. Then I became a software entrepreneur in the internet boom. I had a natural health business, but I told my wife, who discovered our biology, that if she found a way to cure cancer, I'd start a cancer therapy company. So that's how NGX got going. I made it on the executive side by Ian Dukes. He's formerly led business development at Amgen, led business development at Merck, and as a venture partner at OrbiMed, has been CEO or chairman of a number of OrbiMed companies. Our chief medical officer, Glenn Weiss, led on early phase oncology research at one of the Harvard hospitals and then became chief medical officer in Biotech. Jeff Satcher, who's here with us, is our chief financial officer. He was in investment banking at Goldman Sachs, led life sciences investment banking at several firms, and has been a chief financial officer at 3 biotechs. And on the manufacturing and quality side, we have the top 2 ADC leaders on the East and West Coast. Brian Clark led it at Immunogen, the top East Coast company. Morris Rosenberg at Seattle Genetics, the top West Coast company. He also led it at Immunomedics to get Trodelvy approved. And so between them, 7 approved ADCs, $70 billion of corporate acquisitions. And our other scientific founder, Hal Dvorak, discovered vascular endothelial growth factor, VEGF, which was the basis of $100 billion of drug sales. In closing, I'd like to summarize with a little tribute to my mother, as well as to every cancer patient. So my mother was diagnosed with cancer when she was 22 and pregnant with me, and she died at age 33 when I was 10. And when I was young, I would sometimes complain that something was unfair, and she never had any sympathy for me. She would always respond very sternly, "Life is unfair." And it always surprised me because she was always very kind. And I didn't really realize until after she had died how unfair life had been to her. And now I meet a lot of cancer patients who, to whom life has been unfair. We have a chance to make it more fair for them. What's limiting our progress at this point? I think we've proven that our drug works, with only on-tumor effects and demonstrating a benefit. There's going to be a path to approval. And so the really critical thing for us right now is to bring money into the company and enable us to progress to approval faster. And we can offer a very favorable valuation here, and we'd love to have your help moving this along faster. So thank you very much, and I'll be happy to take any questions.
That's great stuff, Paul. Hey, could you leave your deck up? Because
Yeah.
you have a couple of really good slides in there. And just because you brought it up about your mom, could you tell us a little bit about your dad? Because he recently passed to heaven, right?
My dad lived quite a bit longer. Uh, he actually just passed away. His funeral is next week. And yeah, but he's going to be buried right next to my mom, so they'll be united again.
That's very nice. I wrote in the chat box a couple of notes as you were presenting, what was going through my mind as a, investor in the audience, angel in the audience. You're really going to have to, and I'm so glad that Jeff's on the call because I know he gets this. So you should be, I think, because anti-cancer is a big black box into one pours money and hopes for the result. And there's so much roadkill. And so And there's also a really good body of evidence about anti-angiogenesis, which sounds like you have a mechanism of action. You got to tell us what the competitive mode is and who else is in the playing field, who your competitors are, why you're going to eat their lunch, because you're coming along after it's a proven science, this is great because it must be that much better. And then the fact that you can kill tumors, yeehaw, wow! So you can flag them, tag them, and bag them, and now you've got a platform for you. This is how much can you go, how much can you raise. So what I think you need to do is not to show us how you're going to spend the money, how you're going to control the money. I think starting off with all in, everyone, Paul and his wife, right, co-founder, Jamin, put together this capital and launched this thing, and she's brilliant and he's even smarter, and wow, look at the team. And then the first outside money, because you got a huge, stellar board of either potential investors or investors, and this is loud and proud. You have a lot to brag about here. So but you're being kind of nice, polite scientist, and that I think you're not going to reach the market you want. They want to know someone who's going to be able to pound the desk and get things done. And not be such a nice guy, right? It kind of takes a SOB to get an ROI in the vast conspiracies of cancer therapeutics. It's reimbursement this and been there, done that, and all the IP mashugala that can come up to the play. Anyways, the point I want to make back to you is here's this $5 million portion. It's not 5 to 10. Specifically with $5 million, what are you going to do with it this year? And what is going to be the direct result of that? So rule of three, we're not going to be able to keep a lot of things in our head. Give us 3 things you're going to do and why that accelerates, increases the enterprise value. And so this is a key point in your evolution. I think you have a great story to tell. And then with the next 5, the 10, right? Here's what also then takes place. Boom, bada bing, bada bang. So now we actually going to justify this 40 million pre-money. And here's the path to the first of the $40 billion that you're proclaiming. God bless you, sir. I mean, we need more entrepreneurs that are willing to say, we have $1 billion unicorn here, pay attention. And you hit it out of the park mostly. So congratulations.
All right. Thank you, Dan. So just to quickly respond, $5 million will get us to at least 5 patient responses, and it will also add some key medical centers to our trial, including MD Anderson, Washington University of St. Louis, Cleveland Clinic, Memorial Sloan Kettering, Duke University, University of Southern California, potentially Moffitt Cancer Center in Florida. Progress on other fronts of the corporation as well. But in terms of value inflection, going from 0 patient responses to 5 patient responses, and continuing to maintain safety as we demonstrate that we shrink tumors. And once the tumors are shrinking, then the patients will start staying on trial indefinitely, and we can start demonstrating a survival benefit. So it's a huge advantage. With $10 million, we expect to get to about 30 patient responses. So things will move very quickly once we have those larger sites into the trial. And once our dose escalation has advanced to higher doses that will, be more effective and bring efficacy more quickly. So things are really, the clinical data is taking off, the company's taking off, and they're just going to keep accelerating. And yep.
That's even better to hear this. So I'd integrate that and right into your story. Here's where we are. Here's where we're going. Bing, bing, bing. Get aboard, get aboard, get aboard. Right? The list of sites you mentioned, those are all really valuable assets. And you should get a map out there. I mean, you go for a global map eventually, but you can start with North America, just like you. Now I'm going to tell you what I really think.
We're recording again. I needed to stop it for the music, but that we're out of time there. Thank you so much, Paul, for your presentation. And with that, we're going to go into BioVind with Mark.
Yeah, all right. Can you see my screen okay?
You sure can, Mark.
Wonderful. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you for your time today. We are BioVind. We're bringing to market a simple, fast, portable microbe detection platform for use in the oil and gas industry. Now, there's nothing sexy or flashy about detecting microbes that cause corrosion in oil and gas pipelines and storage tanks, but it's a huge real-world problem. There are still more than 100 leaks every year. That means there's harmful oil and gas releases in America every 3 days. The industry knows it's a problem, and through their years of investigation, determined that between 20 and 40% of those leaks are caused by corrosion that's been induced by bacteria. It's become a well-known problem in the industry, and billions are now spent on it every year trying to mitigate the potential for damage. The challenge with the current approach is that to identify corrosion, the oil and gas operators go out and take samples physically, monthly or weekly, from different areas of their facility. They laboriously prepare the samples for transport by wrapping them up and packing them in coolers and shipping them to off-site centralized labs for testing. And then those tests take anywhere from 2 weeks to a month to culture and produce results confirming which microbes are inducing corrosion in their system. And then during that delay, the owner-operators have little choice but to implement preemptive biocide treatments that generally cost tens of thousands of dollars. Then, after the results are finally received, they analyze them retroactively to understand whether they made the right choice or not, and determine if they should modify their treatment plan, and then whether to execute another costly treatment application, while they then take more samples and then wait for more results, and the cycle just continues. But with us, with BioVind, our technology allows them to take that 30 days and turn it into just 30 minutes. So using our rapid results, they can craft their treatment plan the same day, initiate targeted applications in real time with current data, knowing which microbes are actually in their systems causing that corrosion. And by cutting down that time frame from weeks to a single day, they save time, they save money, and they're increasing their ability to actually target specific destructive species with the right biocides and the right application schedule to actually mitigate the risk of corrosion and damage to their facilities. So how does it work? We have exclusive license for a patented technology developed over several years by a federally funded lab that addresses these market pain points right at their source. We use isothermonucleic acid amplification. Our solution provides the same level of sensitivity and specificity as a traditional centralized lab, but we do it with a handheld system that accurately identifies the presence of up to 18 target microbes from a single sample on site in 30 minutes at a price point below our competitors without the need for any highly specialized training. And just an aside, because you're all in the life sciences space, you already recognize that this is a platform technology. So using that same device and that same cartridge and just customizing those assays, we can detect any DNA or RNA from a sample, including viruses and bacteria that impact humans and animals. So back to oil and gas. Most operators have been using culture-based testing for years, and the challenges for them is pretty well known. A lot of operators have now adopted ATP testing about 10 years ago, but that only tells you the total number of bacteria, not if it's good bacteria or bad bacteria. And then finally, there's qPCR, which is used in those centralized labs. It's as accurate as BioVind, but it's slow and expensive, and it requires highly trained scientists to accurately produce those usable results. So we provide our solution to our customers using a simple and effective razor model. Buy the base station instrument at a reasonable price. We make significant revenues on that single-use disposable cartridge. Our customers are excited because they save money on the instrument, they save money on the test, they save time when they get the results so quickly, and they can see the improvement in their process immediately. And then looking at the future, as we enable more rapid testing, the volume of data available to the industry about where MIC occurs and when MIC occurs will allow us to begin building an understanding and how we can predict corrosion. Then we can package that information as a revenue stream as well. So here's what the market looks like. Focusing just on our primary adopters in Houston, Los Angeles, San Diego, and San Francisco, and yes, we've counted each one of those facilities, we see more than $80 million in annual revenues. The market here is attainable because we're gaining a strong foothold in the oil and gas market through proving ourselves with our current on-site work with the highly influential folks at the nation's largest gas utility, that's SoCalGas, and Hess, who's a leading independent energy company with global operations, as well as building our relationship with our seasoned corrosion specialist who has reached throughout the target market. We arrive at these numbers, by the way, based on our customer research and on-site discussions that show that each of these users will require an average of 25 cartridges per month for their testing. And as they integrate that solution into their current processes that first year, they will need 63 cartridges per month for the life of the device moving forward. So we have two sales pipelines that we're building right now. There's the oil and gas extraction, distribution, processing companies. Those are the ones you know, Exxon, Chevron, Kinder Morgan, those guys. And then there's those third-party asset integrity providers who provide the maintenance and the repairs on those pipelines and storage tanks, like Schlumberger and Halliburton and Baker Hughes, who actually just reached out last week to ask us about pilot tests of their facility. Our estimated customer acquisition cost is about $6,600, and then the lifetime value of customer is $26,000. So, sounds nice and easy, but let's be clear about how we got to this inflection point, because it didn't happen overnight and it took a lot of work. Back in 2022, we got our hands on the technology that had been developed at Lawrence Livermore National Lab. They patented it. We worked to determine if that technology could reliably produce the results necessary to be commercialized successfully. At that point, we partnered with Enhansco, who's that oil and gas corrosion service provider. They've been around for 40 years in the sector. They saw the technology and immediately committed $160,000 of in-kind support for testing out the technology. Then, through a competitive process, we were awarded a $1 million grant from the California Energy Commission to refine that technology and then produce a functional kit. And so we then secured an exclusive license on technology. We secured an agreement with SoCalGas to test a solution in their live system, who, after they saw it, then provided us cash and in-kind funding as well. So we are literally in the field with the corrosion teams, pulling samples and gathering firsthand practical insight into how our technology fits into their existing operations. We've opened our lab space in San Diego to produce the assays for the oil and gas targeted cartridge. We've developed, tested, and validated 2 of those assays, with 6 more in latter stages of validation. They accurately identify MIC microbes found in oil and gas pipelines and storage tanks, and we completed our first on-site hardware test at that Alpha Partner facility. And finally, we've just finished building our most recent handheld functional unit to take in the field for pilot testing, which we're going to be doing in 2 weeks. Also, just an aside, the CEC, the regulator who gave us a bunch of money, is going to be on site with us because they're pretty excited about seeing the technology in person. So first time they've been out for that one. This is where you come in. The opportunity in our ask for you is to support the additional assay development, customer-driven enhancements on our base station, and the pilot demonstrations with SoCalGas and Hess. We have the technology, we have the core team, we have the network, and with your support, we deliver a game-changing technology to an industry that's so in need of our product that they've already committed more than $1 million in non-dilutive cash just for the chance to have our technology used in their facilities. But you know, and I know, that it comes down to team, right? The people, the right people, to continue this trajectory, continue the momentum that we've built to date. We have a balanced team of technical, scientific, financial, and entrepreneurial talent with industry network, academic credentials, real-world experience to continue to build on the early success of this company and accomplish the mission. We have a known problem in the industry. We have a solution that is ready to go and being tested in the field right now. The first market is large and getting bigger by the day, and we have the momentum to carry this through to commercialization and profitability. This is a significant opportunity to solve a critical problem for the oil and gas industry. We have the technology, we have the traction, we have the team to do it, and I'd love to take your questions at this time.
Great. Dan, do you have any questions for Mark at BioVind?
I'm ready, Dan. Bring it, man.
Oh, I was flying along in the chat box. I was hitting you with rubber bullets 5 and 6 at a time. Boom.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah. We'll go through it. So it sounds like the people that you're helping solve the problem for, they ought to be regulated. And if they're regulated, they absolutely need you. If they don't have you, who do they have? So your competitive landscape is everything to me, right? Who's already doing this? What's the dealio with them? What's their, device and their Sentinel and their security and et cetera, et cetera. So you should show me graphically what that looks like. What your the technician walking around, right? Is that it? Is he walking inside? Are you sending a robot in? Is there a drone involved? Right? There's so many things that you're touching upon by super safety, security surveillance of caustic and hazardous chemicals. I mean, that's the, it's no surprise. It's the part of the war on terror. And so insurance companies, OMG, accidental releases from labs in Wuhan, who can imagine? So I think you have a boatload of potential, like maybe too much. So the way you're going about to market, you got to show us a map. You were all over the map. You show us a map of where you are specifically hunkering down in El Paso, and you got these 20 different prospects, and et cetera, et cetera. Especially if you end up going to the environmentally soft states who really want to sock it to the big oil and gas guys. And then there's all the litigation that's already been established on this. So now, what are the best practices? Is everyone just still winging it? Or is the EPA actually got teeth behind they say, you make sure this doesn't happen? And then, oops, right? So I'd like to understand the business model of what forces buyers to buy you, and then who else from whom they're buying already, and then what's your sustainable advantage, and then take me all the way over the rainbow to the big pot of gold from the acquirers who are beckoning you over the Mount Perseverance into that lush green valley of free cash flow. And everyone wants to take you home tonight, sir. So who are those big guys? What's the big number? You're basically proposing to me, let's pick on me, 50 grand angel investor, and you're promising me a $500,000 return at least, and maybe more, but make it personal if you want to, because it looks like I'll be doing well by doing good.
Yes. Your imagination works the same way as mine. There's got to be drones. There's got to be something amazing going on. What it brings it down to is that these are the oil and gas guys. They are old. They are crusty. They hate change. So what they actually do right now is they do bug bottles. They straight up set up a tent. They'll go out. They pull the sample, right? They filter it. They get a syringe. I'm not sure if you've spent any time with oil and gas guys, but they have these huge hands. And they got gloves on, and they're trying to stab the syringe into the bug bottle, and they keep stabbing themselves, and they have to do that 50 times a day. So what we do is we say, hey, that's your process. We support that. Okay, that's a great process. We're going to do the same thing that you do, except we're going to take away the needles. All we're going to do is you're going to pull that sample, right? You're going to prep it through we have a special thing called Bar Lab, which is a solution we built, right? It cleans all that junk out. You get just the good stuff in there, right? It lyses the DNA. All you got to do is draw it out, put it right into that cartridge. Cartridge goes in the machine, and don't touch it, bro, because they hate buttons and they hate writing things down. So all you do is you put it in the machine. It tells you exactly what you got in there.
Okay.
30 minutes later.
So you have mechanical devices that can reach up, grab the sample sauce, and just pop it in the trap. Boom. And you're automating or almost
Not even.
automating.
No, the big guy with the bulky hands, he's the one who does it because he's got a job. These are all union guys. They all get paid the same way, and they do it the same way.
This is today. Take me into your solution, not the mess we're in today.
So our solution fits right into what they normally do because they don't like change. So all we do is we slot ourselves right in there. They're going to do, but for the first year, they're still going to do bug bottles and ATP testing, but they're going to do ours right off the bat. They're going to put it in the machine, close it, and wait. And they're still going to do their stabbing and all their thing. They're going to check all their numbers and all that kind of stuff. And at the end, they're going to look at ours and go, oh, yeah, I got Pseudomonas. Great. I got a whole lot of Pseudomonas. All right. We're going to do the plan right now.
Mark, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I missed this. Are you sending out a squad of guys with those Orkin shirts and they're going to start doing this? Or are you sending out a whole bunch of tools and technologies to the guys that do it already at the shop?
Yeah, so I am selling the Orkin guy a detection device that he holds in his hand. And so he knows exactly where to go and exactly what to do. Yep.
And it doesn't have to be him. Could it be like the receptionist? Is it or the security guard? Is it like that simple?
That easy. It's that easy. Even in the sample prep part, you don't have to do a DNA extraction. You just go in, you pull it, you shake it up, you put it in there, put it in the machine, and you're done.
Okay, then what happens? Okay, so say that it alerts.
Yeah.
Come and get me, right? Who the alert goes out. I don't know. It's not a Wuhan lab alert, but it's something. This corrosive pipe is leaking. OMG methane, and we're shutting the whole place down. How does this?
That's the part you want to avoid. So there's an ecosystem that's already built. I don't have to invent this market. So it triggers and says, hey, you've got this in your system, and they go, okay, we know that we can talk to our treatment plan guys right now, and they can be out right now. So we actually have folks on site at the same time. Not my guys. These are corrosion specialists who already have established this market, who already have these relationships. We're just giving them the tool to be better and faster and stronger. They've already got the infrastructure built. I'm just giving them a better mousetrap.
So is there a corrosion school? People go to get certified.
There's a corrosion conference. We were just at the corrosion conference, AMPP. It was great. That's how we picked up Hess. Yeah.
Okay.
They love this.
Put that on your map too. You got a lot of assets that you can stack here and justify your raise. So what is your raise again? Go through you just got a few months ago, 160 grand of angel money.
Yep.
How did you bring that about? What does that look like?
Sure. That was actually all personal relationships, as you would at this round, right? Those are people that believed in us, that knew us, and now we're expanding that to people outside of just our friends and family, to folks
But
who are getting involved in this.
you're going to get this question anyway. So,
Yeah.
are they all accredited? Because you only get
Yes.
so
Oh yeah.
many non-accredited, and you
Yep.
bring them
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
And by the
Yep.
way, you want to take out the word confidential on your deck. It just it
Okay.
weakens the intention you're looking for, and it makes some people scared.
Okay, I had to stop the alarm there so no one would get scared, but I went ahead and paused it. We're out of time with BioVind.
Wonderful.
Mark, for your presentation.
Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate it. Thanks, Dan.
And with that, we get to go into our last pitch of the day, Combat Medical. And Jenna's going to be presenting for them. Jenna,
Brilliant.
whenever you're ready.
Thanks, Kat. Hey, are we there? Everybody see the screen?
Yes, we can.
Fab. Hi, everyone. I'm Jenna Pelorti. I'm the CFO of Combat Medical. We combat cancer with our drug delivery system. The problem, there's no innovation that is effective, affordable, and tolerable in the world's most expensive cancer, bladder cancer. Until us, we have 2 devices that are currently on the market. In 2024, we generated over 4 million in revenues. We have a positive EBITDA. We've completed over 100,000 procedures. We're active in over 35 countries. We have several clinical publications. We have key patents granted in all the major territories. We are a platform technology that can be applied to multiple cancers. And we recently launched our FDA bladder trial. Here we see a bladder cancer patient in an outpatient setting who's having hyperthermic chemotherapy recirculated in a closed loop via our own innovative system, catheter and disposable kit. Again, he's an outpatient, so no anesthesia. After this procedure, he will get up and walk out. The treatments are targeted to the organ. They have low side effects with no systemic side effects. We have a powerful patented aluminum heat exchanger, which provides precise heating. We have well-controlled pressure, which means the patient is comfortable and the treatment is tolerable. It's user-friendly and fits in with existing clinical practices, and we know this because we're already active in the market, and it can be used with many drugs. So why hypothermia? Well, cancer cells are more fragile than healthy cells. Cancer cells can only manage up to about 106 degrees Fahrenheit, whereas healthy cells can manage up to about 111 degrees Fahrenheit. With the hypothermic treatment, the cancer cells are more vulnerable to the heat. It activates the natural killer cells to target the heat stress cancer cells. We enhance the cancer killing. It makes the chemotherapy drug more potent and effective. Increase the concentration of the chemotherapy at the tumor site. This damages the DNA, breaking it, disrupting, copying, and stopping the cell. So we're not an immunotherapy drug, but there is an immune response where the body has learned and remembered and therefore continues to fight the cancer after treatment. The patient journey for the standard pathway. It starts with patient diagnosis. This is followed by surgical removal of the tumor. Then we have 1 to 3 years of immunotherapy or chemotherapy treatment. 80% of these patients will have a recurrence. 50% of these patients will recur in the first year. This cycle continues over and over until it's no longer effective. This is what makes bladder cancer the most expensive cancer to treat. Once this cycle stops, the next step is to have your bladder removed. This comes with a lifetime incontinence care. There's reduced sexual function. You have to then carry a bag. It's a horrendous surgery that no one wants to have to go through. The HIVEC pathway, it starts the same way. We have patient diagnosis, surgical removal of the cancer. Then this is followed by 15 hypothermic HIVEC chemotherapy treatments. We know already that there are lower side effects. We have reduced recurrence rate and reduced progression rates. So the cancer comes back fewer times, and when it does come back, it comes back not as far progressed. This means we save many more bladders and our patients are able to maintain their quality of life. Here in this publication, these are the results in patients that have failed the standard of care treatment. The next step for these patients would be to have their bladder removed. This is the same group of patients that we're focusing our FDA trial on. They're some of the worst disease, some of the hardest to treat, and we are showing a 70% complete response rate at 12 months for these patients. Here's another study in the similar group of patients. They've also failed the standard of care treatment. This publication is from Cologne University. And again, we're showing on or around 70% at 12 months. Here we're showing outside the American and European guidelines, the Global Committee on Bladder Cancer is the most powerful group of urologists worldwide. They have recommended hypothermia as an option when standard of care treatment has failed and patients refuse to have their bladder removed because they don't want that reduced quality of life. So what does the competitive landscape look like here? We have some big players. We have Merck in the market who expected sales of 29.5 billion. They're showing a 19% complete response rate at 12 months. We have Ferring, who had a large deal recently. They're showing a 24% complete response rate at 12 months. Immunity Bio listed on the NASDAQ for just over 2 billion. They're showing a 36% complete response rate at 12 months. Johnson & Johnson with their pretzel treatment, the TAR 200, they have estimated sales of 5 billion. They're showing a 44% complete response rate at 12 months. And CG Oncology listed for just under 2 billion. They're showing a 46% complete response rate at 12 months. So you can see that Combat here is showing greater than a 50% improvement against several of these big players. So what does this mean for patients? With the HIVEC treatment, 7 out of 10 patients will have a complete response rate after 12 months. With the Johnson & Johnson treatment, you're looking at only 4 of those patients after 12 months. So looking at our SOM market, in the US, we have 10,000 patients in this space, roughly 15 treatments, 150,000 treatments total. You're looking at a price of $4,000. This includes the drug and the disposable kit. You're looking at 600 million revenues per annum. If we look at our TAM market, roughly 800,000 patients worldwide, a price of 400 to 4,000 per patient. This really depends on if it's just the kit alone or the drug device combo. We're looking at just under 9 billion. Other external reports are showing that the market is expected to be over 21 billion in 2034. So again, another reason why we're seeing some of these large players in the market. So Combat has had several meetings with the FDA where it confirmed that our clinical trial meets the requirements for our 505(b)(2) pathway. We are confident about this because we have the ex-FDA Chief Medical Officer that wrote the guidance for this type of bladder cancer that we are targeting, leading our strategy and advising us on this. The trial is expected to recruit its first patient any day now. We have interim results expected for 2026, at which point we expect evaluation inflection point, and then FDA approval in 2029. If results are in line with published data, Combat's HIVEC treatment will become the global standard of care. Our business model, patients are about 4,000 in Europe for the device only, and about 60,000 in the US where we're looking at the drug device combo. We have the razor blade model where we sell the single-use disposable kit. Our current product mix is 90% single-use kit, so this shows a steady and sustainable business already. We have high gross margins. Combat is running at about 80% gross margins, and our distributors are making roughly 30 to 50%. And we have a robust manufacturing and supply chain ready for expansion where we expect our sales are going to grow or exceed 500 million by 2032. We have a strong senior management team. Edward, the CEO, sends his apologies that he couldn't be here for the presentation today. He's on his way to the US to be part of the team's live event tomorrow. Him and Alberto have launched several devices. They've brought several devices to market and have both participated in exits. I've been with the company for over 10 years now. I've seen our global expansion and the launch of new products. I have Guy Cooper, our sales and marketing director, on the call here. He's an expert as well in this space and has also worked through IPOs. Our clinical advisory board reads as the who's who of bladder cancer. We have top key opinion leaders from all over the globe. This includes Professor Brant Inman from the US, who was the Vice Chief of Urology at Duke University, as well as Professor Michael O'Donnell, who's at the University of Iowa. So back to the problem. There's no innovation that is effective, affordable, and tolerable in the world's most expensive cancer until HIVEC. We are cancer-free 12 months after complete response rate at 70%, whereas we're seeing 19 to 46% with some of the other players. We are low cost. Some of the other players, we're seeing upwards of $500,000 to treat a patient. We have low side effects compared to the competition with high side effects, some that have actually included death in their reports. We've completed over 100,000 treatments compared to just under 10,000 treatments for some of our competition. So our pathway to success is simple and clear. We have our FDA trial approved. We are raising $5 million in this round. We have 50% of that committed. This is to fund our FDA trial. We expect 18 months of recruitment for our trial. We'll have interim data on 75 patients in 2026, and we're looking for a primary endpoint of 3 months complete response rate of 70%. As we saw in the previous slides, we're already showing 12 months. At this point, we expect a significant valuation inflection point. To date, we've raised 20 million. We have an established business with a track record. We're robust and growing and profitable. Again, we're looking to raise that 5 million with 2.7 committed. We have a pre-money of 38 million. The funds will be used to support our trial. We have established and continue to have discussions with potential acquirers. Just recently in Las Vegas, we met with J&J at the annual urology meeting, the AUA meeting. We've also had several meetings with Boston Scientific. We could consider an early sale and exit of the bladder business in 2027. This would offer somewhere around a 10 to 25 times ROI. Our plan is then to keep some of that back to complete the development of our peritoneal, colorectal, and ovarian cancer business, where this technology can also be applied, and offer a second, even bigger ROI to our investors. Because we are a platform technology for multiple cancers, and we already have traction, all options are open for global expansion. We're happy to, we could focus on debt financing, IPO, several options there. Here is our timeline in a slightly different format for you guys to see how simple and easy it is. That's it for me. I look forward to taking your questions.
Awesome, great. Thank you,
Wow,
Daniel.
3 for 3. Fantastic technology platforms that are taking off. Congratulations. Not hardly
Thanks.
any companies that are out there raising capital from angels are able to say that, oh, we're generating so much revenue, 4.3 million, that it's profitable, 700,000, and we're using that to fund our own clinical trial. So get
We are,
aboard,
we're
because we
contributing
know
to.
how to keep the lights on, and we know how to be frugal and efficient to deliver this end user cancer therapeutic, which is apparently smarter, better, less dangerous. The closed loop system is brilliant. I have a question about Dr. Sugarbaker, who's on your team, and he is like he's the guru of this whole hyperthermic anti-cancer thermia. Anyways, his procedure is called the HIPEC, and
That's
yours is
right.
called the HIVEC. And I'm wondering, is it like kissing cousins? Is it a natural evolution? And do you know if he was using the mitomycin chemo drug with HIPEC? I mean, is it applicable like that?
Sure. So there are two treatments, HIPEC and HIVEC. We deliver both. As you saw in the previous, let me jump back to the slide so you can see the systems. If I can get there quick enough. We have the smaller system, which was the bladder delivery system, and the larger system. There must be a quicker way to get there than the mechanism that I'm using right now.
Yeah, this is kind of fun because I know it all comes back
just
to me.
a quick rewind. So he was the inventor of the HIPEC treatment, and that is in the peritoneal cavity. Here we go. So we have the two systems there. He is the HIPEC inventor of the HIPEC treatment, which is in the peritoneal cavity. We've then taken a similar approach and applied it to HIVEC, which is in the bladder The drugs that are used, I know in the bladder, we use mitomycin. Guy, can you comment a bit on the drugs that are used in the peritoneal as well?
Yeah, they use the same. The urologists are a little bit more conservative and tend to use one drug. The abdominal surgeons are a little bit more like with their magic potions, they will mix up several different chemotherapies. But we say we are agnostic to the drug. I mean, to
That's right.
Jenna's point, HIPEC, and to yours, Dan, HIPEC came first. The idea is the same. If you heat chemotherapy up in a space, it'll make it work better. Now, it's fairly straightforward to do relatively well in the abdomen, but the patient's asleep under anesthetic. So if it goes a bit hot or a bit cold, the patient doesn't mind. Nobody was able to do this in a patient who was wide awake in the walk-in department of the doctor of the hospital. Our technology allows us to do that. That's why we do both. The business is probably 70% bladder, but that's the exciting one today because nobody else can do that because their technology doesn't allow them to do what Sugar Baker invented in a patient who's wide awake and chatting to you. That's where we come in. We changed it from HIPEC to HIVEC, from hypothermic intraperitoneal to hypothermic vesicular. Yeah, we had to pay Saatchi & Saatchi $1 billion to do that bit of branding, but it's worked quite nicely because HIVEC is now used a little bit as a generic term, like Hoover for vacuum or Tipex for
Yes, but it is
correction of
trademarked
fluid.
by Combat, just to
Even
put
though
that out
we have
there.
the trademark for it,
We
so
do
yeah,
have the
we've done a good
trademark.
job of inventing that.
And
So
also worth mentioning,
another
I
huge
don't know
asset,
if you
if I might,
saw,
you have the 100,000 treatments, but you have 35 countries.
we
Is
do.
there a map of the globe that you can show how you're now going to just
We
land and
do.
expand in each one of
Funnily
the?
enough, just before this presentation, I took that slide out and I could see Guy and my comments on the side saying, put the slide back in.
Show us your assets.
We can. We'll get that one. I'll share it with you later, Dan, where we have a map
Yeah, we're
with
pretty much
orange
everywhere apart from with
everywhere
you
showing
guys
all
in
of
the
the
US at
countries
the
that are
moment.
in, but we're in all over
And the
Europe,
sequence
all
by
over
which
the
they went out, you're always, and
We started
here's
with the
here's why
major
you're going to
ones in
justify your
Europe. So
projections because you're going to keep going with that map. It's a natural,
that's right.
we'll close ourselves that your hockey stick is possible.
That's right. Well, we started with the major ones, direct to market in Spain and the UK. We hit the rest of the large European countries. We're in Germany, Italy, France. Guy likes to say, what is your favorite comment about the worlds that we are conquering? We're
It's
in,
like Alexander of Macedonia. I cry salt tears, for there are no more worlds left to conquer.
there we
And-
go.
Be a classical
Well, so
student.
then it
But
comes
we're
to
in
mind.
South Africa. We're now all over Central and South America. So we really are making waves.
So if I might, what comes to mind is your go to market in the United States. Do
Yeah.
you already have institutions that are said, sure, bring that over here, and yes, we'll be glad to use the mitomycin, but also when your Combat Medical anti-cancer bladder drug comes forth, right? When do you imagine that approval to use it on humans, and where would you start using it? Because I'm understanding that you're just not allowed in the United States because you haven't been cleared, but it works, and there's hundreds of thousands of patients who can prove that. So I'm just trying to figure out what the regulatory mumbo jumbo is.
So the regulatory mumbo jumbo is our clinical trial that's going to provide the evidence to fill out to submit our FDA application. We'll be treating patients in the US in 2029, and our starting point will be, you saw on our clinical advisory board slide, we're working closely with Professor Brant Inman, Professor Michael O'Donnell, and I imagine from there over the next several years, we'll continue to make connections.
So
We've
they
done some
should
in the
be
US.
accept. I mean, even
we've
our
done some in the US
FDA
already.
should be accepting your patient data from all over. I mean, that doesn't that really build the case and speed the plow?
No, you guys like your data. The FDA have been very kind to us, allowing us to do our trial in the
That's
UK. This is very rare and has saved us probably $50 million. You normally US things only want US data, and the fact that it works in the UK or
That's right. The
Azerbaijan.
FDA
You
is
guys
allowing
don't
us to
care.
run the trial in the UK, but we did have to show equivalence in the type of patients that we would be treating in the UK. So it is a UK run trial, but it will be run to FDA standards, and that has been confirmed with our discussions with Jonathan Jarrow, as well as the several meetings that we've had with the FDA.
All right, looks like we're out of time today. Thank you both, Guy and Jenna, for your presentation. And thank you, Dan, for the insightful questions and comments.
Thanks, Kat.
All right, with that being said, Dan, we'll go ahead and give a presentation on Entrepreneur Show Me Keys.
Oh man, I'd rather talk about the 35 countries that Combat Medical's improving at least the end life of cancer patients. That so yes, there was. It's more braggadocio in a sense. Here's the share this one. So on the last slide that I shared, there you can see that now. I gotta go back into it for a second. Hold on. Now I go to this guy.
We sure can see it, yes.
Okay, there I am. Can you see that okay?
Yes.
Okay. So as I bragged before, I got really lucky. And two of the companies near the bottom are went unicorn. And so that's Neogenomics at the very bottom there. And then I moved it. The other one, Immunomics, is up here now, number 5 or 6. We're having a shareholders meeting next week. So these things are just beautifully cooking along, mostly because the CEOs who are leading them really know their stuff, and they're just a pleasure to work with. And there's a certain approach they take to everything, in the communications especially. The next unicorn here is, let's see, if you look at this from the top, Randy is one, Ken, Greg, Ross, Bundy, Tom Farposh, and Clark Fisher. So, Clark Tedford. So for the leader is a therapeutic instrument that treats dry AMD. We just finished closing. It was a recent investment, Series C. I'm in over 120 grand. Having started 10 years ago when the enterprise value was only 5 million, and now the post money on the 10 is 120 million, and we're going to get acquired for like 600. So yeehaw, right? There's going to be my next fund is going to come from those proceeds. That's next year, I hope. And so there's a couple of more on here like that, but the most closely related one is Synaptica, which is the second one on here. Ken Mariash there. I'm going to increase the size of this thing. Sorry about the eye strain. Right here, Ken Mariash. He's a top gun from Boston Scientific, was responsible for acquiring the RF radio frequency ablation unit for the company at Boston Scientific, and it's a huge moneymaker. And so Ken was very disaffected as a child, with two of his grandparents having suffered through Alzheimer's. So when he learned about SynaptiStem, the device, and Synaptica Therapeutics, the company, he got very excited and joined, and it's such a pleasure to have him aboard. I met him a year ago. He was aboard for about a year before that, and the treatment of Alzheimer's patients without a drug, similar to the dry AMD at Valeda, it's light to the back of the eye, jumpstarts a whole series of mitochondrial chemistry cascade and such, and restores normal cellular function and apoptosis. So the drusen just melts away in the back of the eye. Vision is restored. Similarly, the transcranial magnetic stimulation from the synaptostem is just aimed carefully into the grandpa's, who has Alzheimer's, grandpa's default mode network, which is the memory banks. It's like a deep tissue massage using magnetism. And grandpa is refreshed for 60 to 80% improvement for a week. So there's been really really strong phase 2 data, which validates all of this. And you know how it is with entrepreneurs, right? You want to trust them, you do trust them, but you got to verify. So we took the very strong opinion and ran that by a global equity analyst who specializes in dementia. So yeah, oh, you're talking about Ken Mariach's company. Oh yeah, I saw that data. Oh my goodness, it's really strong. Why? Because we're having a problem that was only 32 patients in a single site. He says, yeah, that's why, because almost everybody had a huge benefit from using it. This is only with 6 months out at the time. So it's going on to present itself at the World Alzheimer's Clinical Trials in October, and it's under peer review, and we're raising the money for the Series C, the Series A money to put the 5 sites out for the phase 3. I said that wrong, for phase 3. So it's on its way. It's working great. The top companies here, Randy Hubbell's Transradio, Ken Mariach's Synaptis Therapeutics, Greg Fisher, AIM Halo, and Ross Bundy QC, CRISPR QC, the CRISPR chip company, they all went through the Keiretsu Forum due diligence process with me. I was already an angel in, an advisor to the company, and I said, look, this is really going to help get a lot more angels aboard. And so each of those companies has gone on to raise a couple of $1 million after engaging me. Yay! But it's not about me, it's about them. I was just there to do the extra read all about it, talked to the right crowd, knew what I was talking about, validated stuff, helped out with the due diligence, which takes like 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks. But I'll say that the way I have a lot of co-investor friends and co-due diligence teammates who will join me and speed the plow on this stuff. So it's all about when the entrepreneur is making all these statements, and the thought bubbles in the audience of the investors are saying, well, how do you know? How do you know? How do you prove it? How do you prove it? And so the entrepreneurs who can, like, let's call it breadcrumbs, right? There's a dollars and dates, details, angel food, if you will. So the idea of attracting the angels down your path is you give them a nice, easy way to know that they're going to be able to validate and verify things so they don't look like an idiot at Thanksgiving dinner. And so that's really the magic about how to get people aboard, to be really well prepared, have a really tight script for each slide, so that not so much that the CEO or the presenter needs it, but so that the entire team can own the ability to pitch that company in the exact way that the CEO wants them to sound. So it's really nice to see cross-pollination where the CFO, in this case, Jenna Pillardi at Combat Medical, can make the CEO's pitch just as good as Edward. So that that says a lot about the character of the company and the cross training and the team. Because let's face it, most Series A and angel investors, they invest because of the CEO. The Series B investors invest based on the CXOs who are around that CEO, ready to step in any area needed to keep everything running smooth, so that, all the eggs are not in the basket of the CEO's plane landed safely, for example, right? Got to think about contingencies. Want to see a well cross-trained team. So that's good. And then the fact that there's all these advisors. So the due diligence process, for example, with, say, Combat Medical going up to the Keiretsu Forum Rockies, the best next step is to get the interviews done by someone who knows how to interview. And that is really helpful. That gives the rest of the team something to bite down on, and it gives it validation and verification from other experts and noted, esteemed professionals, that what you're seeing here in the slide deck is good. It's true. It's I vouch for it. So think of the snowball rolling down the side of the mountain. Now you have a lot of momentum, and other people can get involved. And with the Zoom tools that the Keiretsu Forum use are brilliant, of course, and the AI as well, like TEN Capital. So that's how to build a story, and then to get it into a table of contents savvy, marketing savvy, non-technical savvy. it just the telling the story about the Angels 50 grand, where it goes off to, what all kinds of other things take place while that these assets are maturing to an approval and to dollar one. It's a wonderful to see a slide deck that has predictions like, and by October of 2026, we'll have $100,000 of revenue. I mean, that's just like Babe Ruth in Yankee Stadium calling his shot, and then you hit it, and it's like, wow, we knew what we were doing. This is great. So that's why a lot of venture capitalists would love to get your newsletters, because the CEO is promising this is going to happen and when, and will this and that, and then constantly updating that on a classic CRM type of constant contact or some other program. Anyways, digital marketing is key. LinkedIn, I think that's not as fun, but we're always out there looking for unicorns. So if anyone gets in contact with me, I'll send you our list of all the different wonderful fundraising venues that we're supporting. Resi is the Monday, the 16th of June coming up, and that whole week is Bio Week, big Bio International Convention in Boston. I'll be there. I'm booked solid, which is kind of fun. And the receptions at the end of the day are just as much fun as learning all the new stuff. And so there's those two events. Then I talked about the best of the best CEOs are baking off for the money on Tuesday, the 24th of June. See me, or there's my email address right there in the tile. And we're also going to be having a boot camp again in August, but in the middle is a couple of things, including the ventureforum.net. And if you're an angel, you probably want to be part of that flock. We're going to be seeing a lot of really good companies right through. It's matching, it's free, and it's terrific. This is run by the U.S. Angels, my affiliate group. What else? And then we have a couple of family office events coming up, because that's where a lot of the money is. And they always are interested what the due diligence findings are and why you would invest in. So that's a little bit about me. Jen, Kat, did I use up the time? Or because I could take questions. People like to ask what
Yeah,
will
you
we
pretty
find
much,
about you.
yeah,
that
you did
is
use
not
up
on
the time,
social
which is
media.
great. You have
I can
about
tell you that I was a stay-at-home dad until 2016, and that's how I built my portfolio, staying out of trouble. Yes, Kat.
yeah, you had about one more minute for 4:15 to follow the schedule. We are gonna have breakout rooms here.
For my time, I would love it if each one of the presenting presenters of the companies could just give their own 1 minute reminder of what they're about.
Uh,
I know Paul might have left, but I thought I saw
Jeff's here.
Jeff still on. Yeah, there's Jeff.
Hey.
So give us your 1 minute about Injex.
Sure. Highly differentiated antibody drug conjugate, only one of its kind in terms of the TM4SF1 antigen. The team for the last 22 years at Beth Israel and Harvard have built a tremendous IP moat around it. This product is now in clinical trials where 5 million will get us patient data, which could demonstrate proof of concept and enable the company to hit a meaningful value inflection point very shortly.
That's pretty motivating. Thank you very much, Jeff.
You bet.
Is Mark Teagle still in the house, or did he blast off?
Nah, man, can you hear me now?
What say you, sir?
I say BioVind is transforming microbial detection in oil and gas. Our portable platform delivers on-site DNA-based results in under 30 minutes, identifying microbes that cause microbial-induced corrosion before damage occurs. Unlike traditional lab tests that take days or weeks, we enable field teams to make immediate data-driven decisions, reducing downtime, extending asset life, and avoiding costly failures. We've already validated with our major operator, SoCal Gas, We are getting ready to scale both upstream, midstream, and at storage infrastructure. So with BioVind, the operators don't have to guess anymore. They will know. Is that 60 seconds?
So finish strong with the money step. And the next, this batch of money, go ahead.
Yeah, no. So the next batch of money is very straightforward. We're going to use it to hire 2 more research scientists to round out our current assay development, because we got 2, we want to get to 18. We are hiring 1 software developer to finish off our stack. We have a $40,000 credit with Microsoft to use their Azure to get it up into the cloud, so we can start doing the AI on it and be able to do the predictive analytics. And it'll handle the cost to finish off our pilot demonstrations with both SoCal Gas. We've got 3 more of those to go with them, and 1 more with Hess, and to expand our stable of folks that we're going to slowly and strongly grab more market.
That's great. Very motivating. So I saw Guy, we heard from Jenna. Guy Cooper is in the house. Let's have a minute of Guy. He's a doctor.
No problem. Cheers, Dan.
He's
So we are a proven existing MedTech company outside of the US who need 2.3 million, which is 40% of this current round. We've raised the rest to work inside the US. This will then allow us to turn from being a 40 million valuation company to what TEN Capital have told us will be an 800 million valuation company. And that inflection point on the first data will be in 2026.
Wow, that's powerful stuff. 20x in
20x in 26. That's I'm gonna have that as a tattoo across my head now. 20x in 26.
We'll put a barcode so people will QR code it.
Oh, Guy, it's got to be 20x in 20 months.
That's not too far away.
So for the first time ever in my entire life in investing, I was able to tell people, and I'm still convinced, this is the Trans Radio Company. They're at the top of this list. Well, it's not, you're not seeing it anymore. Anyways, 5x in 1 year. Wow. And so that the reason why that became such an attractive bite by this family office for the whole 2.2 million post money at 10 is that it is participating preferred. And there's only a handful, maybe 20 max, but a handful of serious acquirers in this exact medical device niche. So they're going to be able to drive the price up. So it goes from 10 million today to 50 million a year from now. And the fact that that's happening is just braggadocio now, because you saw it happen on my watch. Come to my shop. We're connected with 500 accredited life science investors, 1,000 people who can say no. And as a result, they'll find a way to say yes to the right situation. Thank you very much, Kat. I think we're all set. Everyone knows how to reach me.
All right, great. Yeah, sounds good. Thank you all for joining us today, and I hope you have a great day till the next one.
Brilliant. Thank you, Kat.
Thank you, Kat.
What's
Thanks,
the
everybody.
next date in
Nice
July?
Appreciate it.
everybody. Good luck.